Hello. Today I intend to read the book of Ruth. Apparently it's on page 250 and it goes to 254.
Maya, yes. Puedes hacer algo ahora.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
We could possibly read this book.
Espérate, eso para
One
que no haya
chapter,
tanto papel.
2, 3, 4. That's it, 4 chapters. That's a cute book to read. Ruth. Introduction. A rare bond of love. This is from the Student Bible from the NIV. Ruth and Naomi lost everything.
Te pongo a hervir papas para mañana.
Except their care for each other. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me.
Isn't it you and I?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking that perhaps separates is a verb. I think. At the end of the verb is the me. I would have put separates us. When I don't know how to say it in English, I avoid the sentences. Ruth and Naomi were unlikely friends. A generation apart, one young and strong, the other past middle age. Stranger still, one was the other's mother-in-law and came from a completely different ethnic and religious background. Who would have put them together? They had lost everything when their husbands died, with no man to rely on. Their lives were at risk in those rough times. No one else would come to their defense. They had only each other. Wow, I am like the book of Ruth in the sense that if I didn't have my wife, then I'd be homeless because she's the one that works. The woman's initiative. The book of Ruth is not two women against the world. Rather, it shows the women taking initiative to find, by God's help, a man who would care for them. In my life, my first wife helped me, and this wife helped me. And eventually, in the next 7 years, I want to learn carpentry, bricklaying, electricity, all these useful skills so that I won't have to rely on a woman to help me. To feed me, to buy me shoes, toothbrushes, and things. However, we are all dependent upon each other. The plants depend on the sun. A woman's initiative rarely gets so direct as in Ruth. At her mother-in-law's direction, Ruth located where Boaz, a relative, was camping out. She waited until dark, then crept to his feet and lay down. When Boaz woke and found her, he didn't have to be told what was on her mind. She wanted him for a husband. Flattered, he didn't let another sunset before making the legal arrangements for marriage. So a woman could pick a husband. There was no dating back then, I guess. But they didn't need to because they already had seen each other. Society, the way God had designed it, encouraged men like Boaz to help the needy. For instance, by Old Testament law, a farmer had to leave some of his grain behind so that poor people like Ruth could harvest it. And also by law, a helpless widow had to be taken into the home of her husband's family. This was the law by which Boaz claimed Ruth. Ruth? Not Naomi. All right, which one's the old one here? God's invisible presence. Behind the eloquent story of Ruth looms an invisible helper, God. He didn't intervene in the events so far as the story tells, but nobody in Ruth doubted that life proceeded under God's direction. It was the Lord by whom Ruth swore. You're not supposed to swear. It was the Lord by whom Ruth swore when declaring her love to Naomi, and the Lord whom Naomi credited for bringing Ruth to Boaz's field. God's law brought Boaz and Ruth into marriage. Finally, the Lord gave them a son, in whom mother, father, and grandmother found deep satisfaction. The last verses of Ruth show, furthermore, that God's plan extended beyond Ruth and Naomi's personal problems. Ruth was a member of the despised Moabites, enemies of Israel. Yet God not only accepted her into his family, but also used her to produce Israel's greatest king. Ruth's great-grandson turned out to be David. To anyone who thought that God's love was for Israelites only, Ruth's life made a striking contradiction. How to read Ruth. Ruth, brief enough to read in 15 minutes, is a delight. The German poet Goethe called it the loveliest complete work on a small scale. But Ruth's author didn't hammer his points home. It is possible to overlook his deeper meaning. Hi, Brother Timothy. I call him Brother Timothy from the Bible. As you read, concentrate on the loving bond between Ruth and Naomi. This love, which thrived in suffering, is the root of the book. It offers hope for other people in hard circumstances. The author of Ruth assumed that readers understood the cultural and historical background of Ruth's time. You may wish to read about it for deeper understanding. Deuteronomy 25, 5 through 10 describes the background on marriage for a widow with a member of her husband's family. The kinsman redeemer. Leviticus 25, 23 through 28 gives background on a poor person's property. The introduction to Judges offers historical perspective, for the book of Judges is an overview of the brutal times Ruth lived on.